So I've been meaning to do a video on this for a little while now. Only since the release of the SKOLL, or the new Ultimate SKOLL, have I finally gone ahead and beaten the third and final stage of SKOLL and HATI, which personally to me I still think is the hardest content in the game. Let me know in the comments section how many of you guys can actually go ahead and beat the third floor. I can imagine with SKOLL's release a whole lot more people would be able to beat this activity because, I mean, even at 1/6, he just does so much work. Ideally for this first turn as well, shouldn't be using that the stance cancel card on Freya. You'd be a lot better off using the buff cancel card on the Elizabeth instead, just in case you can double up on the stance cancels on Freya, actually get the effect out of it. But pretty much just going to be going over my run, kind of the thought process behind all that kind of stuff, and I mean, the level of ease you can do these now. Me finishing the first, second, and third stage, I end up spending way more time on the first one, just resetting, getting a decent amount of HP, or it's not even like I can't finish with a good amount of HP every time, but I'm also getting the right passive and feeling confident with the run, because you don't want to get off to a bad foot on the second stage and then that slowly kind of snowball throughout into the third and final one, because it does definitely get more difficult as you go on. And I was talking to my friend about this the other day, but it's so annoying that they kind of put a difficult gimmick in the first floor, that of course being the final phase, having to kill both of the wolves in the same card. You don't necessarily have to, but if you don't, the other one either heals to full HP or gets an insane amount of stats boosted to them. So ideally, you want to try and finish off with the ultimate. You could just go ahead and save one of your AoE ultimates until the final attack, but I prefer to kind of let them off as the final phase starts. But once you get into the third turn here, ideally you want to have one of those stance cancels saved up when the SKOLL goes in and puts up the shield. If you have the HATI low enough, you can of course just go ahead and throw some attack cards, finish them off. Still just building up ultimates, all that kind of stuff. We're going to be doing that for the first two floors, and then once again letting everything off in the final one. You will see in some of the later floors, I do go ahead and use the Freya ultimate just to go ahead and get through the second stage. You can end up taking a lot of damage in this phase, and due to the infect as well, not being able to heal can be very, very deadly. So if you can, saving onto the level 2 heals is very important. Once again, in some of the later floors, you may end up taking a little bit too much damage, so you do kind of want to use those. And if you can ideally use the ultimate as much as possible, also want to save that for getting as much ultimate gauge, because you do want to be using the SKOLL and HATI set for this activity, of course, and with that, the more ultimate gauge. I believe the more ultimate gauge you have, the more stats you get, so very, very important, that one there. But yeah, by the end of this turn, we should go ahead and move on to the final one, and then, of course, you don't really have to focus so much on the passives on the second floor. I find they're all pretty decent, but getting the damage passive on this first floor is very, very important. The defense one is all right, however, I do hear a couple people say it's just as difficult as the it's a purple one with the eye, the defense stat down one, I believe it is. Yeah, that's the passive you want to go for there, and then pretty much have all of our ultimates saved, throw all of them off into the right dog, and then try and chip away at the final one. I do actually end up resetting at the end of this one. If you guys don't know, right before the end of your turn, if you go ahead and close the app, you can pause and close the app if you don't trust the timing, something like that, but go ahead, close the app, you can reopen it, and as long as your turn didn't end, you will get to fully go ahead and retry your previous turn. So very, very good, helps out for activities, stuff like this. Only place where it doesn't work, and it's been like this for quite some time now, is Guild Boss. So if you have a really good run on Guild Boss, don't try and mess it up, just go for the safer play. Losing a little bit of points and, keeping a decent run, I feel like is a lot more important there. But at the end of this video as well, I will of course go over all of the gear sets, all that kind of stuff, rolls, gear, cosmetics, all that for all of the characters. And this is where we end up stuffing up. So go for this one here, ends up keeping the right dog on just a little bit of HP. And then I was hoping, oh no, so yeah, the left one dies and then clearly not doing enough damage with the AoE cards there, so we go ahead, close the app. I'll skip that one out because not going to see me sign in again, but yeah, real weak card into the right dog, knowing that should be fine, and then using the heal card, that way we've got the full HP for the final phase. But I am still hoping within the next couple updates we get a Ragnarok update, maybe a Holy Relic, something like that for Thonar, because I do still feel like the activity may be a little bit too hard for some of the newer players. Once again, Demonic Beast battles are meant to be relatively difficult, but I don't know, I'd like it to be a little bit more accessible. The bird I still feel like is by far the best content we have in the game. Super fun and a lot easier, but continuing on with the same passive. When it comes to the second floor, if you really are trying to get the ideal passive, the poison one, which I think we end up getting anyways. I got super fortunate with that one. Poison passive is the best one, and then the one with the closed hand or the fist is the worst passive. So once you're on the final phase as well, if you can clear it, go ahead and clear it. If not, go ahead, try again. But yeah, a whole lot of people would rather use the T melee, which I don't know, I just don't feel like he ends up doing as much. The Escanor AoE is so goddamn powerful. And with the fact that if he's super low, you can use that and pretty much lifesteal him back to full. See, we might start to miss out on a bit of damage, and the amount of defense the dog gains on this floor compared to the first one, it is wild. We were hitting damage cap almost every hit on the first one, and like even Escanor can't hit damage cap now, so it's a big difference. Although the first one has that really hard gimmick on the final floor, this floor definitely has the stat boost, which, I mean, for a lot of people may be preferred. If you have these characters built out, you should be fine. Always wanting to put your Tarmail Grace on the Thronar. She's going to get absolutely whopped. And if you can give her crit resistance rolls on her gear, of course, once again, we'll go over the gear, all that kind of stuff at the end of the video, but definitely what you want to go for her there, because I remember especially when SKOLL and HATI initially came out, a whole lot of people were making extra defense pieces and giving all of their characters crit resistance, because when they crit, the damage multiplier is really powerful. Good that we could get the 2 extra attacks out on Thronar there. Building up our passive as much as possible. Can't wait to see what Freya will look like with a Holy Relic, because he is super good in all of the demonic beast battles. I use him in bird, I use him in deer, and I use him in dogs as well, so absolutely amazing addition to the game. Do have the stance cancel here. I think I may end up taking a little bit longer in some of these turns, because I was also grinding Dokkan at the same time and talking to a couple of friends, which is why there's no audio, but also the main reason why I didn't get a video out yesterday, so sorry about that one. Just ended up spending a little bit of time on this and then doing all the dailies, all that kind of stuff. Had to finish it late at work, so there you go. There's my Johns as to why you guys didn't get an upload yesterday. Yeah, we should be fine to finish this off here. I don't know if we're going to go ahead and waste our AoE card, because if not, we're going to get stuck on this phase for just a little bit longer. Well, especially with that lifesteal there. Though I was getting really low as well. I could imagine I'm either going to play it to just get us into the next phase, or go ahead and use the heal, maybe stall out for a little bit longer. Yeah, I think this might be one of the points where I went ahead and hopped on the phone for a bit. Oh no, here I am. Yeah, if you guys would be more interested in seeing content based on SKOLL and HATI, more guides, maybe different team builds, because I do feel confident enough now in doing the activity. I mean, it's been out for long enough. I definitely should to go ahead and do more stuff like this. Also have no idea where today's update is supposed to be, because at this point I should be summoning on the Christmas Valenti. We got patch notes, which are super late, but I don't know where the actual update itself is. Here we go, ultimate. Not ideal, end up taking a lot of damage there. Thronar almost got one tapped. And then we had the stance again. I can imagine I'm just going to go ahead and, yeah, do that and then use the death ultimate on him, get to the next phase. No death ultimate. Well, I'm really holding out this one. You can see just how much longer it takes, and if you are using the trader melee team, it does end up benefiting you quite a bit, because you can build up all of your defense passive, or the second part of his passive, for when you get into the next phase. Also makes it so you have a lot of buffs built up for him as well. That way you can kind of chip through the Black Dog a little bit faster, because, man, he does a crazy amount of damage. But yeah, now that we have Thronar's ult, thank God she survived there. I actually ended up getting the second floor here, first trial, which was really nice. I was thinking, oh, we might end up failing with how low HP she is, but now we ended up getting it done. And then, yeah, the ultimate itself would have been enough to kill. I probably should have gone ahead and used the ult drain card instead. Yeah, definitely want to burn through this one. I think this is the first time where I use the death ultimate to try and get us through. Yeah, that's alright though. Don't think I end up removing the debuffs. Just end up keeping them on, yeah. There is definitely a chance you don't get attacked with the AoE card that causes the infect, but I wouldn't go ahead and bet on it. Anything like that. Let's see. And there's still a whole lot of people as well thinking we're going to get a fourth and final demonic beast battle. I don't personally think I can see that happening. I think we pretty much have all of the races covered for the Holy Relics. Giants and Demons were the last of them, which, I mean, we haven't got any more Giant or Demon Holy Relics in quite some time, so would really like to see characters like Monspeed and Derriere finally rounding off the roster for Holy Relics, and then eventually seeing characters like Trader Melee, Harlequin, Escanor as well getting theirs. Even if it's just the original, the one Escanor, I think he could really use some work, but Elizabeth back to full HP, and Escanor should be able to finish things off. I think he ends up doing a little bit too much damage. We might have been better using the stance cancel there. That's alright though, we'll still be able to finish this one off just fine. Once again, if you're not happy with your turns and you think maybe you could use a weaker card, still finish the phase, reset the app. You can do it as many times as you like. There we go, we end up getting the ideal passive. And then in this final phase, a little bit different to the previous one, the dogs are actually slightly weaker when it comes to defensively. Do of course want to finish the right dog first. Causes ignites. The sooner you can get rid of it, the better time you're going to have tanking through this one. Here we go. Yeah, that is a lot from him there. The absolute paragraph of an ultimate Escanor has. Here we go. Another time where I could have reset. I could have gone ahead and used the AoE card, killed the both of them, and then focused more of the single target damage on the left dog, but didn't end up being super necessary, and I was just trying to get the video out on time, which didn't end up happening, but oh well. Yeah, they're going to focus the hell out of Thonar there. Unfortunately, Escanor got frozen, so he's not going to do as much damage. Him getting frozen fully resets the Thonar passive on him, which is alright. I think we won't end up killing this turn, but we should be able to dust things off in the next one. Yeah, same thing with the third floor. Almost identical to this floor here, except I believe sometimes you get frozen a little bit more, so having the card set is super important to negate that, and then the stats just get even more inflated. You carry some more of the... Oh no, we actually end up getting done there. 440,000 off a level 1, Jesus. Yeah, onto the third and final. Once again, a pretty decent amount of HP going into the final set. Here we go. I'm so glad I've finally been able to do it. I remember my first time actually being able to beat the bird. I think it was just after the Festival Harlequin that we were just talking about previously got released, and oh boy, what a feeling that was. Now, I remember I did a 10 hours of bird video. This was quite some time ago, but if I were to do that now, just how quick you can finish runs with Escanor, even on the first floor where there's the fourth phase where they have the crazy amount of patience and you usually need cards that ignore resistance, stuff like that. Escanor can simply just attack through it, and then the dot damage at the end, like the little extra tick he does of Scorch, even works as well. So man, he is just something else. So we end up getting our New Year's unit, and they end up being another unit as strong as Escanor, another unit with a passive tied into their ultimate. Game might be in a bit of trouble. Power creep with this man has just blown completely out of proportion. And it would be fine if they made the rest of the units look as good, but the very next update we get a unit like this Christmas for Lenti that doesn't really compare, unfortunately. Let's see. Not doing too terribly when it comes to the damage. If you can as well, hold on to the ultimates just to stop the freeze. The freeze can be very gimmicky, and before the card set actually released for this activity, it was a nightmare going ahead and getting that third floor done. But now that I can actually ground up the Holy Relics, I think I might spend some of my weekly Demonic Beast Battle where you can choose to get the first time clear rewards. May go ahead and use that on the deer, because I mean, I'm just not the biggest fan of the deer, in all honesty. Here we go, we got the stance coming up. Fortunately for us, we got 2 stance cancels here, and then why didn't I use the one on the right, get the merger on, or am I just going to go ahead and use it anyways? What a... Gosh, you can tell it was getting late at this point. Easily could have gotten more card draw and done damage with the level 2, done just a little bit more. Yeah, and it's unfortunate we had to use the Elizabeth ultimate, but it was the only way we're keeping Thonar alive. If she dies, the run is almost dead, and I say almost because at the very end of this battle, we end up losing Thonar, but fortunately for us, we'd already done enough damage that we could kind of finish things off. It was a very close run. I think I did this one second try, so first floor I reset maybe 4 or 5 times trying to get the right passive. Second floor was first try, and then the third was second try. So compared to something that I'd spent 3 hours beforehand, not be able to complete and then give up on, it's a good change, that's for sure. Get rid of that one there. Thonar's ultimate definitely does some decent damage as well. You don't need any ult levels in her, she's really just a character that you have there for the passive, identical to Jormungandr in a sense. And Escanor should, with the level 2, be able to get us into the next floor. But yeah, you'll see we burn through these final 2 phases pretty quickly, because it's at the point where if you don't deal enough damage and kill them quickly, they're going to end up killing you. So we go ahead, we make the decision, we cleanse throughout the Freyr ultimate, and I think we use one of these stance cancels as well. Kind of deciding on what I wanted to do there. Do I not use the heal this turn? Save onto it, a bit risky, because Thonar was pretty low there on the right. Yeah, that is a good chunk. God damn. I'm so surprised about just how easy this has gotten, and I still have a whole bunch of videos to do on this Escanor as well, so I still want to go ahead and do one on the bird and the deer as well, so once again, let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing that kind of stuff. Man, seeing Escanor take damage like that, even with all the inflated stats of the card set. Of course as well, if you can max out that card set as much as possible, it is going to help you massively. There's barely any of the card sets are even worth leveling up. The 2 Dominic base battle ones are the only ones of real importance. This was another period as well. Could have reset. I only really needed this, or that and the cleave card from Freya. We could have gone ahead, hold on to the stance cancel, wouldn't have done enough damage, and then kept to the Escanor single target as well. Not too sure which passives are good or bad for this one here, but gonna go full send. Don't have the Freya ultimate to start this one off because we finished it on the last one, but we go ahead and rush that just to make sure we can get rid of him as soon as possible, and then I think I even end up fumbling some of the single target, the Scorch damage, and keeping him alive an extra turn, so not the greatest way to play it, but it happens. I wonder if Liz is... Oh, actually, this Liz already has a Holy Relic as well. I think that's why I ended up preferring this one way more than the Red Giant chick, because she puts the debuffs on herself, which does end up helping out your entire team, but the regeneration rate just isn't there. Having a Holy Relic is super, super important. That's something I completely glanced over, but Escanor's super low. Should be able to finish him off in this one here. Donor ultimate, and then heal. Does this not end up killing? I swear I remember him surviving this turn somehow. Oh no, I was definitely wrong. Goddamn. Yeah, because Escanor's frozen, he's not going to be putting out nearly as much. Look at that. Even though it was a single target card, Thona doing a lot better damage than he is. Frozen again, which is sad because we had the single target, and then at this point it's just a matter of fact of going ahead, throwing out some high damage cards and finishing it off, but not too long. Yeah, gear sets, I think could definitely be more rounded out, and definitely a content where, you know, you go ahead, you need to get your UR gear. It's the most difficult thing you can do in the entire game, so not saying to kind of rush into. We'll kind of let these final parts finish off, but I doubt we'll be getting another character, or like a whole character based towards this content. They usually only like to give us the one each demonic beast battle, so Thona, if you can pull it, I do believe she's on the most recent Escanor banner, and then don't think I remember her being on the Valenti banner. I'll actually go ahead and check that on now. The Valenti banner not bad by any means. If you're looking for exclusive characters, there are a whole lot of really good ones there. And honestly, half of the banner, even myself, only have the units 1, 2, and 3, 6. But there we go. That is the final phase of the Dogs Beaten, and then we go ahead. We get our juicy rewards. I think I ended up picking the Cusack Holy Relic after this one here. And moving over to our live Grand Cross at this point. Gonna go over here and let's have a look at the sets. So this is the team. I believe all the gear sets should be, yes, completely the same. We'll go ahead, we'll just collect them all from here. So Escanor, pretty much 15% defense once again, not something you need to worry about a crazy amount. Freya, normal attack defense rolls, same with the HP ones. And then the Elizabeth full HP defense set. I think I remember this set being alright as well, since I used it on the light Elizabeth. Nothing too out of the world. By no means do you need 15%. And Thona's not the greatest. Yeah, full crit resistance on both of her pieces there. And the attack pieces as well. I would say you probably want her attack that way. If you can get her damage to actually proc and her build up her passive. Very, very crucial. And then the gear sets here. Don't really need to run over them. All of the associations are 6 out of 6. If you can have Tamil, definitely want her on Thona. If you do end up having a couple more dupes in the blue Tamil, might be preferred just because she can keep those extra stats. If she can end up surviving the turn, that's what you want to see. Then the artifact set, completely maxed out for the deer set. But there we go. If you guys made it to the end, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for some more Grand Cross content.